Hey everybody, it's Jochen Hayden, and I'm back with the Desert Wolf versus Wirraway Ace War in the Pacific campaign. This is scenario 1 with stacking limits. This is the 3rd of November 1942 combat replay and intel analysis. Let's watch it. Okay, back from vacation, and I'm back at it here with you guys today. So we're looking at the November 3rd turn. This is, of course, Desert Wolf versus Wirraway. As you may recall, yesterday's turn, or yesterday in this campaign rather, was pretty exciting as Desert Wolf decimated Wirraway on the ground with his aircraft. So let's see what happens this turn. I'm hoping for something good. Oh! Oh, dang! We got some activity here, guys. Um, right off the bat, looks like one of Desert Wolf's ships hit a mine at Attu, or Attu. And it looks like we have some sort of naval activity near Nauru. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. Okay, so we have a landing now. All right, so the Allies are going for Attu. And of course, we just heard him hit a mine here. I guess he didn't bring his minesweepers in for this one. All right, so the Japanese are landing at Basuanga. Okay, now we're in the get some daylight here. We'll see what comes of all that we just saw. Okay, here we go. Some naval movement. Okay, here we go. We have a looks like the Allies sent out some. What are these Fletchers? They look like Fletchers. I'm not entirely sure from the picture here, but it looks like we have 3 Allied destroyers versus a supply convoy. Okay, so we have a DMS, and these look like patrol boats actually, or AKLs. I can't quite tell yet. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Okay, so these are AKs. All right, so we have a supply convoy intercepted by these destroyers, which I'm assuming are either Fletchers or maybe Bensons. I don't know exactly. No, I'll find out here in a minute. Needless to say, it's not going to go well for the Japanese here. Oh man, and they're getting in tighter too. I will say this, I find it incredibly bold for Wirraway to be sending in these supply convoys with just a single DMS escort so close to the lines of the Allies now. And this is why it's not such a great idea. So we see the Allied destroyers firing a lot of torpedoes. One was a hit with no explosion, and the rest are just missing so far. Ooh. And this is not going to go well for the Japanese. Oh, okay. So it looks like I was misreading the situation. The Japanese apparently have a patrol boat mixed in with this too, but it's still not enough. A patrol boat and a DMS at best are going to maybe scare off a sub, but are not going to deal with something like this. Okay, looks like we have another torpedo hit. It was another dud. So the Allied Mark 14 torpedo situation is you know, it's the same thing. I think these use Mark 14 torpedoes. Either way, Allied torpedoes in 1942 are no good, regardless of what they are. All right, I think we've seen enough here. Let's go ahead and fast forward through this and get to the end of this. My prediction: complete pain for the Japanese. Here we go. Oh golly, it's not good. All right. So right off the bat, we see that the DMS W-16 is sunk, the Aiko Maru number 2 is sunk, and we have quite a few ships here that are going to sink. So out of this list of ships that are hit, the only one that has a fighting chance of maybe getting out of here alive would be the Kensen Maru. The rest are going to die. And in trade, the Allies take 0 damage here. What a good attack. All right, so they're withdrawing because they're out of ammo, basically. Okay, now we're going into the AM phase. That was pretty fun. All right, so I have a little bit of context here. So I was very curious as to why Wirraway was flying all these sweeps over Lanchow. So I asked DesertWolf, what the heck's that about? Apparently about a month ago or so in the campaign time before I picked this up, DesertWolf pulled off a massive cap trap on Wirraway at Lanchow and shot down like 100 bombers or something in one day. So ever since then, Wirraway is very hesitant to go into Lanchow or anywhere up here without massive fighter sweeps. He got burned. So that's what that was about. Okay, a lot of recon missions right now. And here, oh wow, 114 bombers. That's impressive. That is quite the sortie. That's gonna do some heavy damage to Lanchow. Yeah, big time. That decimated the base without question. Now, if Wirraway really knew how bad the supply situation was here, he would know that DesertWolf is no longer really capable of even building forts here with the supply being what it is. But this will definitely seal the deal. This hurts even more his supply, and basically guarantees that no further fort building can ever happen at Lanchow as long as this sort of thing keeps up. Okay, some more sweeps to Lanchow. These are just like fragments coming in from the initial waves. All right, so we see that the Allies are back at Tungi. Looks like he's shifted focus from Pisanuloke and is back to trying to force his way through at Tungi. And it's good to kind of change things up and to start switching back. And these hits here are going to keep Wirraway from rebuilding the fort level, because it was reduced earlier a few days ago when he attacked last. I think he got the fort level down to 3. Man, look at all those 63 Blenheims. Yeah, critical damage to that base. And it's just going to keep on coming. Clear sky over target guarantees that they're going to get good accuracy on their bombing hits. Okay, BC-26 is coming in now. More of the same. Good. Oh, here we go. He's going after Macon again. This should be very damaging to the base. Pretty decent casualties there and a lot of damage to the base. There's no way he can build anything. Okay, this appeared to be a... No, I thought it was a ground attack, but it's not. But he's actually damaging and destroying squads now. That's pretty scary for the Japanese player here. So DesertWolf is just targeting the base, but there's a lot of splashover damage to the units as well. And he's not only disabling, he's destroying squads. And with Macon's supply situation being what it is, he's not getting any of these back. So imagine when he starts switching his bombers to just attacking the actual ground units, he's gonna tear them up. Okay, get some more stragglers coming in Tungi. And another attack. And this looks like it might be attacking the actual ground units. Yeah, and this one was. And he's getting through very good with this. Yep. These are good raids, man. All of these are just really damaging the garrison at Macon. Came back to Tungi. This base is going to be nothing but a crater-leveled mess. And these guys are showing up a little late to the party, but that's okay. And these guys are coming way late to the party. So this is a sweep, right? Ideally, you want your sweeps to arrive before your bombers do. It's kind of late. Fortunately for DesertWolf, Wirraway didn't attempt to even put up any fight here today because his bombers would have been unescorted. Just some leftover stragglers coming in. Okay, some more recon going on right now. And a little leftover straggler sweeps. And these guys are coming in way late. Okay, that was AM phase. Very eventful. Now we'll go into the... Oh! You hear that sound? I think that's one of... I'm pretty sure that's one of Wirraway's AKs from earlier in the day that got sunk. Or it finally sank. Okay, now we're going into the PM phase. Okay, got some full Morse coming in for an afternoon sweep. Same. A sweep over Rangoon now, just keeping everybody on their toes, right? Look at that. Look, see all these sweeps? Are you guys noticing something missing here? 0 Japanese cap. Nothing. I don't get it. I don't get Wirraway's plan here. He's just letting the Allies have their total way with everything here. He's not putting any fight up in Burma and Thailand. I don't really understand why. DesertWolf has complete air superiority over Burma and Thailand right now, from what I can see. Okay, lots of recon. I'm kind of fast forwarding through this now. Most of this is just recon. Alright, and we got another sweep of Rangoon coming in the afternoon. And of course, no Japanese activity. Alright, there's your PM phase. So now we're going to go ahead and move into the ground combat phase and see what we get. Something else just sank. I'm assuming it's another one of the AKs from the destroyer attack earlier. Alright. So a Japanese bombardment down here in the hex that we always talk about. There's not going to be much to say about it. A few squads were destroyed this time. This was a little bit better of a of a bombardment than usual, but it's still not going to put a dent in this defending force. That's it. Nothing else on the ground today. So the big activity for this round was definitely that naval attack. But it was very exciting and really cool to see how much damage just 3 Allied destroyers can do to Japanese ships when they're not appropriately guarded. Let's see what kind of reinforcements we get right now. Okay, got another destroyer. That's not a destroyer, it's a sub. That's a yard minesweeper. So a submarine and a yard minesweeper. Okay, wow. I can't wait to take a look at these damaged ships. Okay, I'm having a hard time deciding what's the bigger story for this round. If it's the invasion of Attu or the shellacking that the Japanese took down here in the Marshall Islands. I don't know. Let's look at the numbers first. So for this round, the aircraft losses are 3 for the Japanese, 1 for the Allies. Nothing really noteworthy here. Some flag ops losses really for everybody. Top pilots, none lost for DesertWolf this turn. Looking at the Army loss points, this has gone up 1 point each, so nothing noteworthy here, pretty negligible. Now, ship losses. Okay, so we basically have confirmation that 2 Japanese ships have sunk. The W-16 destroyer minesweeper and this AK. However, I'm almost certain that more sank due to the amount of sinking noises that we heard during the continuation of the round. We heard at least 2 separate instances of a ship sinking, so it would have had to have been a couple of those AKs that we thought were going to go down. So 2 confirmed, possibly 4 total for this turn. All right, so for the entire turn, the Allies gained 47 points, which brings the Japanese win ratio down further to 1.634. It was about 1.64. Now it's down even further. So this is the second consecutive day where the Allies have made points over the Japanese. So we could really be seeing the turning point in this campaign happening now. The high water mark of the Japanese Empire, I think, was a little bit a while ago, and now we're seeing ground being lost. So this could be, we could be here to witness the full turning point of the campaign, officially. So I looked at the combat report, and just a couple things that stood out to me was the fact that the Japanese are still at Bataan sweeping mines, and they're only using 2 coastal minesweepers because there's no big rush. A lot of these mines have already died over the last 10 months of the campaign, just floating out there, but they're still getting rid of those. And APD McKean did take 1 mine hit, is on fire with heavy damage, and there were some casualties taken as a result of that, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. All right, let me mark that off my list. SIGINT. Just a couple little things here to might be interesting. Radio transmissions at 9865. That's out this way. 9865 is right here in this hex, just south of Amami Oshima. So definitely some sort of shipping going on here. It may be something that DesertWolf wants to break off a sub and maybe kind of go hang out over here for a little bit. This could be a convoy lane of some sort. Something to keep in mind. And the last thing that we want to look at here is the 4th Raiding Regiment located at Singapore. And I've mentioned this before, but I always like to know where the Japanese are keeping their raiding regiments. These are parachute regiments, so if I know where they are, I know where they're not. So if you got a raiding regiment down in Singapore, you know, at least for a little while, that can't be used for any kind of parachute mission behind the line somewhere. You know, just good to know, right? All right, now let's take a look at the ops report. One thing that stood out to me a lot was the amount of recon the Japanese appear to be flying over Tabatuea. And of course, that's down here in the Gilbert Island chain. And Tabatuea is where DesertWolf has basically his main base of operations for his reconquest of the Gilberts, and probably his main base of operations for subsequent operations at Nauru, Macon, and into the Marshalls. So this is a pretty big base, and the Japanese know it's a big base. It's got detection on it for sure, and we have confirmation from the task forces assembled there. As you can see here, they have detection. The Japanese are flying quite a bit of recon missions, presumably out of Nauru over to here. And you can see there by the auxiliary aircraft, those typically are going to be your recon planes and float planes, things like that. So another reason to reduce Nauru before proceeding too far up into the Marshalls is, as long as it's out here, he's got eyes on stuff. So that being said, DesertWolf is flying, excuse me, DesertWolf is flying recon there too, and I'm looking at it now, and the amount of troops that are on Nauru are quite substantial. So this would not be an easy base to take. So DesertWolf may just like to go after Macon and just kind of isolate Nauru for a bit. It's hard to say what his plans are because he doesn't tell me, but I don't know. I don't like Nauru sticking out there on the flank of this advance. That's just me. I'm by far nowhere near as capable and intelligent as DesertWolf when it comes to this game. And the last thing I want to show you in the ops report is the confirmation that the W-16 and the Aiko Maru did sink. When you see it here in the ops report, you can basically treat it as gospel that it has sunk. And it said when it says it's reported to have been sunk, it's pretty guaranteed that it is. But again, we heard additional sinking sounds in this area during the term, so I think there's more than that. All right, so let's talk about the overall situation. So this is what I predicted would happen last turn. This unit was able to sneak into this hex, and if I understand it correctly, and I'll let DesertWolf correct me if I'm wrong, if you get a unit into a hex where the enemy is already advancing, I think it basically stops the advance. And even if it doesn't, what it's going to cause is we're going to have to stop and engage this unit, because now if he continues into Lanchow while this unit's here, it's going to disrupt the supply up into Lanchow, right? So I think it would behoove him to stop and neutralize this unit before he continues on. And 257 AV in a hex with ×3 terrain is no joke. So this is definitely going to slow him down a little bit. The unit is in supply, more or less, enough to at least continue on for a bit. So this could be a problem along the route of advance towards Lanchow. And also, since we're talking about that, I do want to correct one thing that I said in a previous video about supply going up through here towards Lanchow. In a previous video, I said that because this is mountain terrain, that it's going to get very difficult for the supply to flow for the Japanese up this way. DesertWolf did correct me on that. When you have a main supply route or a road like this, it supersedes the actual terrain in the hex. So despite these being mountain terrain, because we have a main supply route, which is these dark red lines, the movement points to move the supply from, say, Sion to here is still very, very low. Now, where it starts to getting very expensive to move supply would be on hexes like out here, right? Desert, desert, desert. If we had to move supply through here, we'd be paying a very heavy cost to do that. For example, Desert Rough, right? It's going to cost you 15 supply points per hex to move the supply through there. Now, if it's on a main road, it's basically almost nothing. So I do want to correct that. So the Japanese won't have supply issues getting up to Lanchow so long as they control this road here from Sion. Anyway, Wirraway is going to have to stop and engage this guy, or it's just going to cause some problems going north. All right. Really nothing else happening in China at the moment. He's effectively stopped here, and here, and here. And he's going to get stopped up here. So there's really nowhere for the Japanese to go. Over here, his only path to success in China is going to be up here for now. Interesting, we do see this Japanese unit going off-roading up here. I guess he's trying to flank around or something, but it's going to take him weeks to get through this terrain. He's probably moving at about 3 miles a day, and there's 46 miles in a hex. So when you're going off road on this kind of terrain here, you go incredibly slow. And I don't know what his goal is here, but he's spotted. So this gives DesertWolf plenty of time to get on the roads and plug these holes, so there's nowhere for this guy to exit out to do much damage. Okay, in Burma, we saw a very heavy bombing campaign here in Tangi. As you can see, the airfield is heavily damaged, so there's absolutely no fort building going on here. As far as what DesertWolf is going to be doing, I assume he's just resting these units here to get their fatigue and disruption down as much as they can. I believe the reason that you see this much fatigue even now is probably due to the malaria zone. I think you can kind of see that here on the weather map. The malaria zone is pretty far up into Burma and Thailand, and when you have units that are dealing with that, it does affect their fatigue and disruption levels. So these are basically what you're going to get with malaria zone. These are just from combat. But there are a lot of Japanese troops here. They are moving in different directions, but we do have reinforcements coming in. It's going to be difficult at this point for DesertWolf to break through here unless he really ratchets up the intensity of the bombing campaign even more than we've seen and just starts blasting away at the troops here. Even then, this terrain being jungle rough is just going to be hard to get through here. So I kind of feel like the lines are stalemated here to some extent. What really needs to happen here is get these allied units down here to block the supply route, because I do believe there are some supply disruptions when you have to go through a hex with enemy units in them. And then from there, DesertWolf should look to isolate this pocket of troops and eliminate it. And from there, it'll give him more options, free up troops to maybe work their way down this road to Chiang Mai. I don't know. I'm just throwing out some ideas here because I see it's kind of heavily blocked in all areas right now. But we'll see. One thing else I've noticed is the Wirraway got spooked and scared from the bombing disaster of Pisanu Locale last turn. So I see a lot of Japanese aircraft being pulled away. My guess is they've been brought down to Bangkok, where they're a little more safe. And the only real activity we see are some fighters here at Rangoon. But even then, that's not enough fighters to affect anything. So I don't know what Wirraway's overall plan, intent, goal is in this region. To me, I don't feel like he's doing enough in the air to stop, slow down, or even deter DesertWolf from doing whatever he wants. So if Wirraway wants to hold Burma and Thailand indefinitely, or for a lot longer than he is currently, he's going to have to figure out something better in the air than what he's been doing here, because I would call the Japanese efforts in this part of the campaign region to be pretty lackluster. Alright, so now we'll go all the way over to the Gilberts / Marshall Islands, where we saw these guys just go nuts. So, looks like DesertWolf full sped these guys from Abemama up to here hoping to catch something, and he sure did. So what these are actually Mahan class destroyers. I thought they might have been Fletchers, but obviously not. You know what gives it away is this. See how we got the raised forecastle deck here. This is like a twin decker, right? Whereas the Fletchers have a flush deck, right? It just kind of curves down from the bow to the stern, and there's no real break in it. I should have known this was a Mahan class destroyer, but just see what these guys did, right? These aren't even the best destroyers that the Allies have, and these three alone came in here and just decimated the convoy that I assume is right here. So he full sped these guys up here to do that. Burned most of the fuel getting there, but it doesn't really matter. They were highly effective, and they did a lot of damage here. So these guys are retreating now because their ammunition stocks are pretty low. I was wrong. I said Mark 14 torpedoes before. It's actually Mark 15 torpedoes that the destroyers carry. Mark 14s are for the subs. However, I'm pretty sure these Mark 15 torpedoes have the same reliability issues that the Mark 14 and the Mark 13 torpedoes have. Didn't stop them from having a great round, though. We did see this over here at Nauru, too. Nothing came of it, though, oddly enough. The destroyer Downs, which is another Mahan class, did get into Nauru and attempted to engage, but nothing came of it. Hopefully next round we'll see these guys engage. And you'll see here you have a max reactive 4 and they have a patrol zone. So to get your naval units to actually react, they react from their patrol zone. So he basically assigned this hex as its only area to patrol, so it should react to anything within 4 hexes of this. And something else kind of slick here. The previous round, DesertWolf bombed the aircraft on Nauru, and look what it did. It made Wirraway pull those aircraft out of Nauru, right? He had dive bombers, he had all kinds of stuff there. He pulled them all out because he got scared. And now that allowed the destroyer to get in there without having to have any fear of aircraft reprisal, right? Because there's nothing there to strike him now. Again, we saw more bombing activity on Macon. You see that the airfield damage to 82, which effectively halts any fort building. We know he's got 5 units there. This is a rather small garrison. So when it is time for the invasion of Macon to happen, it won't take long at all to reduce this garrison. In fact, I don't think that DesertWolf really needs to spend a whole lot of time prepping for this. I think Macon's already weak. The garrison is already small. They have no supply. The base is damaged. So he can probably just go ahead and get in here, pick these guys up, and head over to Macon and just take it real quick. Call it a day. I give this less than 2 weeks before he's in control of Macon. Okay, next. Man, a lot to talk about this turn. We have the invasion of Attu. Oh, hold on. I need a drink. All right, better. So, we have now seen the invasion of Attu, which is basically the last step, other than these 2 little dot bases, to completely reconquering the Aleutian island chain. So, per what DesertWolf told me, apparently, Wirraway took a big portion of the Aleutian Islands earlier in the campaign, and DesertWolf conquered it back. But this is the last really holdout for the Japanese here. So once Attu is taken, which appears to be ungarrisoned, so this should be pretty easy to do. He'll have this next turn, then he can come back and back cap these 2, and then that's it. There's nothing left of the Japanese own in the Aleutians, and now we're going to start looking at the Kuril Islands for maybe future operations here. But it wasn't without cost. APD McKean hit a mine, and it is danger close to sinking. I don't know if the ship will make it. It's basically down to speed 0, which means that it's being towed. And when you have damage like this, you're basically moving at 1 hex a day. Not 2, but 1. So we'll see if that ship even makes it back. I am a little surprised that DesertWolf didn't go in here with some minesweepers. We saw him at Tarawa send minesweepers in with his invasion task force. Whatever reason, he didn't do it this time, and it cost him. The Japanese left mines here, and DesertWolf stumbled into them. And it's not like there's a shortage of minesweepers, right? You have these yard minesweepers here. We have AMs here, which are regular minesweepers, and he didn't elect to bring them along. I don't know why. I kind of think it was a little bit of a mistake, but I guess hindsight's 2020, right? It's always easy to look back and say what you should have done when you have the benefit of seeing what went wrong. But in the grand scheme of things, one of these APDs is not going to break the bank. It's more of a matter of pride than practicality, right? Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is this. So we saw these guys leave ADAC about a week ago, and they finally made it back to Pearl Harbor. Now, I have no idea what his plans are for these ships at this point. Maybe he brought these guys back to do some upgrades to the cruisers. I don't really know what the plans are for these escort carriers, but we'll keep an eye on this to see what he intends to do with them. And probably within 2 turns, we'll see this huge task force return to Pearl. Again, I don't really know what they're coming in for. Maybe some upgrades. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm just kind of looking to see if I can figure out. I'm guessing upgrades. Yeah, that's got to be it. Unless he's got some grand plan to take these standards, right? Plus the Zodiac, the British destroyer battleships, and shift them somewhere else. But I'll be watching this task force carefully. I am very curious what he's going to use them for. Anyway, I think that's enough talking for this turn. A lot happened here. It was a great turn for the Allies. Wirraway really needs to get his act together in the Burma/Thailand area of operations. I'm not impressed by his air campaign here at this point. I would like to see the Japanese figure out something better. You know what I would like to see him do? Grab a ton of fighters and set up some cap traps of his own for DesertWolf, right? Wirraway needs to bring in every fighter he can possibly muster for a couple turns and put up some dang cap at Tungi for once and fight off the sweeps and take out some bombers. Do something. You got to do something right here, man. I don't know. It's making me angry with Wirraway for not putting more effort into defending this area. This is the whole left flank of his whole China operation, and he needs to hold it. So let's see if Wirraway can figure something out and put up a better fight here. And I'm sure DesertWolf will come in and tell me why perhaps Wirraway's not doing what I think he should be doing here, but that's just my third-party observation. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one.